Hello and welcome back to the channel and to a special video. We have got Masters of the Universe, a review. You see it already in the title, but there's one. This is pretty interesting. One of the cups from, the stuff that you can get. Anyway, got another one, changed from Adam He-Man Castle Grayskull. Got another Adam He-Man transformation. Lenticular cups. Oh, did you see the topper? That's pretty cool. I like the you can't see it very well, but you can see it just there. It's a really shiny um, sword. Pretty cool. Really cool. I like it. And then Skeletor with his staff. Havoc staff, right? And here we go. He's moving around a little bit here and there. Anyway, he's got a I only see two positions. Anyway, he's sitting on his throne here. And over there, we've got He-Man Skeletor. You can look at it sometime. This Skeletor sitting on his throne, Snake Mountain, He-Man stepping up the steps. Popcorn bucket, if you will. But it was really more just the piece. So someday I'll have a display of He-Man from different places and stuff like that. So anyway, Masters of the Universe, really. He-Man is one of the characters. So the movie, okay, it's really good. Go see it. All right. Unfortunately and sadly, the box office is not doing very well with it. Um, for whatever reason, and who knows? I mean, who knows what the real reason is? But for me, it's really good. It's a good movie. It's a good story. It tells the story well. It's got a very basic plot and a very basic story, because you're starting out, you know, introducing the world to a new live action version of Masters of the Universe. And I think you can go from there and tell the story from there. Yeah, okay, that's really what we can do. But we can have a long running series franchise where things get better and better and spread into different areas and tell different stories. Go to the different places that there are for He-Man. I'm all for it. Okay, so to address any of the controversy, I'm just telling you it's really good. Go see it, enjoy it. Let's give you the basics real quick. No spoilers in this. We want to come back and do a spoiler review at another time. But the story starts out with Adam telling his story. So he's narrating, and it tells the story of Eternia and him as a child, 10 years old, and having to escape from the invading Skeletor, and takes the sword, needs the sword in order to get back to Eternia, loses the sword, and spends 15 years on Earth trying to find the sword, looking for the sword, trying to remember the sword, and so forth, and finally finds it, is brought back to Eternia, looks at the devastation. You've seen all this in the trailers, and of course has to fight Skeletor in order to, uh, um, restore order and restore everything the way it should be. And the story is, I think, very well told and very well imagined. It's full of action. Uh, there's a few little inconsistencies or discontinuities. I can think of about two, but I want to say there's three or maybe four in the whole movie that I was like, there's a lack of continuity right there. There's something missing right there from that shot. It's one of those things that I could talk with like George Lucas about. They say, and he would be like, yeah, there's this background thing that could be there, and it's not there. It should have been there because we saw it just a moment ago, or something like that. But like I said, I can think of maybe two right now. I've seen the movie a few times and intend to go see it more. I know I'm late in getting to this review, But I really hope that the people here come to their senses. This is a new weekend, and if you're going out with your family, you're not going to see, hopefully, Obsession or Backrooms. These are not movies for the family. So you're going with your family, take your children to see He Man and the Masters of the Universe. Masters of the Universe is the title, by the way. And that may hurt it, actually. That may be part of the problem, is to say Masters of the Universe. We're talking about He Man, you know. Let's just go see He Man. And if it said He Man and the Masters of the Universe, it would have been fine. Um, so the movie itself, really good. Now, I'm not really giving it a rating per se, but I would give it like 4.5 stars out of 5. So 9 out of 10 or somewhere in that area. For me, it did right. I think a lot of people are going into it with their a little disillusioned and the thoughts of, oh, it was reported this or the reported that. Supposedly the actor said this or said that, and so we're looking at it and we're saying, no, I don't know about this. We're not, we've been burned a lot. The fans have been burned by the Hollywood crowd, and uh, I have just not gotten into trying to seek out all that reporting. I'm not looking for it. I'm judging the movie based on what I saw and how I'm going to interpret what I saw. And the story I saw was, for me, it was about men and being a man and what men do and and so forth. And I think it told that very well. It brought about those sentiments, the ideas of those sentiments, extremely well, several places, several times, and and presented the battle between good and evil in a right way. Um, and from my remembering of the show and the teaching of morality in the show, there are things that I would not agree with that the show said as the moral lesson. And I would in my life experience say, not quite where we ought to be. But at the same time, I can kind of remember back to those years and say, okay, this was going on at that exact time, and so I understand why that message is being stated there, whereas they did not quote the news uh, headline to show you why they were saying the moral lesson. It just fit in with the thing that was going on at the time. That's what's going on with that. But like I said, very good movie. I mean, very enjoyable. I've seen it, like I said, multiple times. Um, the people that I have seen it with have enjoyed it. It has been fairly well sold in the theaters that I have gone to see it in. It it it's surprising to me how low these ticket sales are. Maybe my area is just weird because I've been to other movies which supposedly did better box office wise and were far fewer people in the audience than at these Masters of the Universe screens and showings um, that I got to see. But I'm not going to go into all these spoilers that are different. But I want to touch on some of the history. If you've enjoyed it so far, that's great. And you've liked the video, you can just like it and go on. Subscribe, wait for that spoiler video. I just want to go and talk about, for those that are interested, about kind of the origin and the debate that's online. The vast majority of, and I've watched dozens at least of different reviews on Masters of the Universe, and the vast majority are very good. I went to um, um, was it the Rotten Tomatoes website, and I was looking through they say it's like 70 or 80%, something like that, 75 or 80. I can't remember exactly. percent positive on the audience score, and I went and looked at that, and it's I counted 100 of them. I count 100 of them, and I think I had 7 that were below that 3.5 stars that should be a fresh or good, um, or 3 stars. I think 2.5 to 3 stars really should be on the fresh side, or three. But anyway, um, but from 2.5 and above, I think I only counted 7 that were less than that, and most of those were like half star. This is the worst movie I've ever seen, or something like that. 2 stars. This is not a good movie. It's really terrible. But just there's 7 that I remember counting out of 100. Okay, and I stopped. I wasn't going to count to 2,500. Different ones. But somehow it's 75%, I think it was. And I'm like, that's kind of shocking, kind of surprising. But it's still fresh on the critics' score as well. And for it to be that and be fresh on the, and I think better than what it's showing somehow on Rotten Tomatoes score, it's that's a good show. And like I said, I watched dozens of YouTube um, um, reviews. So you get a lot of review different possibilities. You can also go to Metacritic, and you can go to Criticless, and you can go to um, IMDb and stuff like that, and see where people put their scores. But give me just a moment here. Let's see about this.
Forgive my delay. I had to grab a package and so forth and stuff. But anyway, trying to get back to where I was when I was thinking. The the debate about it, as far as I can tell, it's very very positive as far as those who are watching the movie. Even those who didn't know much of anything about it, they're from it was all right to it was really good. Lots of action. Don't know much about the lore. It's interesting stuff like that. Those who know more about the lore, for the most part, seem to be really appreciative of the movie. There's a little bit of debate about different things, which I think again stems from more the reports heading into the movie that these different things were in the movie. And I think we just live in a time where semantics are out there. And I would interpret things a particular way in this movie. I'll go into those things in spoiler uh, uh, fashion in the spoiler review. It will be separate from this. I will not go into any of those things here. Um, but uh, yeah, I would have to do more research this is here and talk about a lot of those little particular things and stuff like that. But right now, it's not necessarily doing fantastically in the movie theater. However, this is my assumption. This is my personal belief right now. Is it's being told that we're being told it has a particular um, budget attached to it. I don't really think that this movie was given that budget specifically. My theory about it, and I'll just give you this thought, is that this has been in development for about most of the last 20 something years. And so, person to person has got it, started writing a story about it, and all of that gets spent on, uh, you know, various treatments and hiring different people to do a writing or write a screenplay or buying one from one person or another and stuff that all gets spent. All that money that gets spent that way um, gets then put on the budget of the movie when it's finally made, like they did with Superman Returns. The budget that's reported for that, I learned a long time ago, was because of all the different productions that were leading up to it, trying to
restart the franchise in different ways. So it included the Tim Burton thing. So whatever Tim Burton got paid, whether he finished the movie or not, was the theory. Yeah, that's I may be wrong about that, but you can go check it out. I'm pretty sure I'm right. So whatever he was paid is then rolled into the budget of Superman Returns, even though he's not going to get any kind of credit for doing that. They put the credit of the payment into that. And so it's a way of reporting movies and budgets that I've never really liked. The movie studios could do a separate thing and say miscellaneous projects that are never finished, all losses, and put them out there. But no, they in at certain times in the past put it on a particular movie that did finally get produced. Okay, so that's that's my theory about why it seems a pretty high budget. At the same time, it's not necessarily that high, and there are not enough people going to see the movie in the theater. Apparently, if the box office sales are truly as low as they seem to be. Maybe it's that some people are embarrassed and they think, oh, yeah, man, Masters of the Universe, who's going to go watch that? But the 80s, children will go watch that and stuff like that. Now, back about when Transformers came out, would have been a really good time for it to come out, probably. A good live action version. At the same time, they may have totally ruined it, and spoiled it. I think this was done with a lot of love for the original filmation and the original toys version of it. But for those that are arguing some different points, if you're screaming and yelling about it, I've got nothing to say to you, nothing to talk about. When you calm down and you give a point, then I can, you know, go back and forth with you about that point, whether or not it's really important and stuff like that. But I have heard some people screaming that the movie's woke. I don't believe it is. I don't think so. I think it can be interpreted a different way. There's a cringy line here or there, one from Cringer himself, but uh, one or two lines maybe, and the only one I'm able to remember that I think is like, why would you even throw that in there? Well, was from um, our beloved Battle Cat. Um, but I see people that dislike the movie. One lady didn't like it because it didn't have enough Cringer in it. She wanted Cringer throughout the whole movie, basically. Or at least more of Cringer, during the action parts of the film, more Battle Cat and stuff like that. Well, to me, there's a promise of the future. To me, there's a promise of the future, and I think that since this comes from Prime Video, um, at the same time it's MGM, but Prime Video, it's it doesn't need all of the other stuff. I think the merchandise in this is going to do really well. I really do. I think the toys and things like that are going to do really well. Um, it's great when the toys do well and the memorabilia from the movie theater does well, sells out. All the Castle Grayskull things sold out. Popcorn bucket, etc. stuff. Anyway, uh, whatever there is for uh, toys and that sort of thing, I hope will do well. It it's a good resurgence of a good product that had good lessons to them. All right, and it had a certain form that it took to a vehicle to carry those lessons. But I think that they're there, and I think the vehicle was fine with this movie. And the lessons that were being taught, I believe, are right and accurate and good. So I wouldn't I wouldn't I would have my disagreements with those people that are very harshly criticizing the movie, and especially that are saying, well, they told you it was going to be this way, and you see, and they, try to point to certain things and claim the filmmakers were trying to tell you this, so you have to interpret it that way. I don't think you do. I think you can take the scenes, and when we go to the spoilers video with my special guest, then and talk about all the little details and go through all the little things, I can tell you my interpretation of it. And if you say the filmmakers were trying to tell you something else, well, they failed to do the thing they were trying to do. I do believe Barbie is a very similar situation as far as the filmmakers were trying to tell us something. They were trying to say something, and their storytelling doesn't work. And the lesson that I get from that movie, I interpret the movie a certain way that they did not intend, and they were not uh, wanting anybody to think that that was the um, meaning of what they said. But it really comes across the way that I interpret it, basically. But anyway, that's another thing for another time, and you may be able to find my review on here. How many years ago? A few years ago. Anyway, we've got some other movies that are coming out. Of course, Disclosure Day is out this evening, and well, opening wide or whatever it is. It's all well and fine. That's good, but I'm not excited about it. I'm not sure that it's a family thing to go and see. So I mean, if you got your family, you got your children and stuff like that, sure. I want to say, I forget when. I think it's next week. Yeah, next week, Toy Story comes out. So before you go see the next Toy Story movie with your children, take them to see Masters of the Universe. They'll enjoy it. There's some bad language that really shouldn't have been in there, but what are you gonna do? But seriously, unless you're shielding your children, they've already heard this. They probably already heard it anyway. But it's been a common thing on television shows for years, many years, decades, in fact. So I mean, it's just something that's out there, and uh, it's it's not something that I'm going to discount the movie entirely because of. There's some bad jokes in here too, some jokes that go too far or said too many times. But the vast majority of humor still lands well, or it hits the right note, I think, most of the time, and then um, it will be acceptable to you. So even homages that are sort of played like jokes, or will make you laugh, and they're not necessarily played off as jokes, but they're really good. They're just good moments, because again, they're capturing parts of the '80s cartoon and stuff like that. Now, the lore of He-Man. If you're trying to fight about the lore, I don't know of a definitive lore. If you can tell me where that is, I'll be glad to look at it and say, "Oh yeah, okay, we've got it now." But I think there's been a few interpretations of He-Man. The original comics came out. They had the original. I shouldn't say comics. As original, the toys came out. They came out with mini comics. So the mini comics start with a particular lore, and uh, it changes as the comic book even develops and as the toys are being produced and stuff. And it's like, well, let's introduce this guy. Well, doesn't that change this history? Oh, yeah, it does kind of change this history. Oh, we're going to introduce the female version of this. So we got Shira. But doesn't that change who is she in relation to Adam? And so forth. And it's like, oh, well, yeah, what about that? And then they figured it out, and whether they wrote the movie for it or whether they wrote a comic for it or whatever it was, that changes the lore, changes the original lore from the mini comics and goes into something else. The He-Man show. jumps right into the story, just like you would really when you're buying toys and stuff, and you just start playing with toys. Um, you make up your own story. You just jump into the action where it is. This movie instead is telling a story to get you to the place where you're then in the midst of whatever's going on. All right, whatever, all the different things that are happening on Eternia. So I'm looking forward to that. That seems like it will be, to me, a good thing to continue on. And I think that, like I was saying earlier about Prime, I don't think they're losing money by doing this and claiming it's this amount for the movie in theaters. They might get a tax write off or something like that, but I think that they are making plenty of money um, to be able to produce the next show, the next thing, the next movie. And I sure hope that they do without any um, caveats. Don't say something like, "Well, since y'all didn't like it in the theaters, just make it for the right amount of money." And go see Zack Snyder if you don't know how to do that. He produced the Rebel Moon, everything that's in Rebel Moon right now. Produced it both movies, or you could say all four movies, for $166 million, less than what this movie's reportedly for. So if he can do that and make Rebel Moon what it is, then he can hook you up with some special effects works and make yours what it should be. Okay, it's anyway. Um, just my 2 cents on that one. You can make movies for less money than you do. And I think, like I said before, this movie was probably made for a lot less, and all this extra was rolled into the cost of it so they could put it out there and cut their losses, as it were. But anyway, uh, creative accounting, that's what it is. Anyway, um, this is a good movie. This is a good movie. Go see it. Just keep on saying that. But like I said, the lore has changed. So this is another lore, if you will, and I accepted it as that at the very beginning. I'll give more theories in my spoiler review, but I do consider this kind of a new take on it because of just different things that you can't really say are exactly the same as this or that. But it really does. It's Travis Knight's version, and I didn't watch the 2000s recreation or much of. I did watch some of it, but I didn't watch much of the stuff that was on Netflix. So I don't really know about it enough to make a comparison. So I'll go and try that though. The 1987 one, it is what it is. Earth, it's kind of the MacGuffin-ish thing. I don't know if I'm using the right term or not. Just a little plot device to get you somewhere. They had to get away. They got away, and they were hidden, and therefore, then they were searched out. 87. But they were trying to do a serious take on He-Man, and if you watch the movie, it's a serious, take on He-Man, and it's not done poorly. It's done fairly well. The equipment, the costumes and stuff like that, they did fairly well with it. And they were trying to make like I said, a more serious take than the cartoons and the direct toys. Well, what's a more serious take? This is what it's going to be. And but is and as good as Frank Langella is as good as Skeletor. Great, spectacular. I think Jared Leto's and my son watched the movie with me, and he saw Jared Leto's name pop up on the screen. He said, "Who was Jared Leto in this?" Jared Leto's Skeletor was fantastic, very good, very well done. For those that are wondering, bodysuit. Okay, so it's not CGI motion capture outfit. It's It's Jared Leto and stunt doubles in a suit, and you can kind of tell as I watched it for the multiplied time, multiplied. Uh, Trying to figure out a number. Several times that I've watched it, I then started scrutinizing, looking a little more carefully, like, what about this? And I was trying to look and see whether his muscles moved or not. They didn't fix it with CGI or anything to make his muscles flex and all that and move around, which would have been a cool thing to see, though. But yeah, they did not do it that way. However, uh, like I said, very good movie. Very well done. Got merchandise to get. Go to the movie theaters. Buy the popcorn bucket. There's a lenticular popcorn bucket at the Regencies, Regal Regencies. Um, I should just say Regal Theaters. Uh, AMC has got its own stuff. Uh, um, and there's other ones, Santikos. I'm forgetting all the ones that are available out there. Different kinds, different popcorn buckets, and different drink cups and toppers and everything else. Nevertheless, whatever it is you look for and get, uh, or if you go to the stores and buy the toys, uh, you know, I think that you're gonna have a good time. You're gonna be able to introduce your children to something, or your grandchildren. Might be at that time frame in your life. So, but anyway, yeah. Um, uh, I don't really have much more to say about it. I think, like I said, the lore changes, so this is a new lore. Go into it thinking that, and I believe the sentiment about manliness and being a man, and the qualities of a man are all very well put, very well stated in this film. So I will leave it and not continue on talking about different things. We're trying to ramble, and I apologize. I am rambling already. But go see it. Bring that box office up. I don't really think Disclosure Day is a family movie, so if you got your family, take your family to go and see after date night and go see Disclosure Day. Go for the rest of the weekend, see He-Man, Masters of the Universe, and watch your children and watch your children enjoy these things. And when they leave the theater, acting out the parts and having fun. This is what it's for, and that's the idea. And and revisit the old stuff. Good moral lessons. I'm glad that I grew up in such a time, and it's a very interesting shift where we're at right now. Even though things were going on in the '80s, I'm just saying that there's just a difference. There's for sure a difference now as to the comparison of then is what was going on. I mean, I'm not getting into it. Not going to ramble any longer. Good movie. Go see it. Good messaging. Those of you who don't like it, you can voice your objections in the comments below. I will be glad to address what you say and ask what's going on and get clarification or respond the best way I can figure to respond. Maybe you saw something that I didn't see, and I'd love for you to point it out to me. But good effects, good story, basic plot, very simple, easy to follow, nothing complex. Gladly. And anyway, good movie. Go see it. Make that box office just explode over this coming weekend. I sure hope that you're all up for it and choose to do so. Well, anyway, we'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.